Welcome to On Texas Football. Time for lunch with the coaches, Bob Shipley and Bryan Erwin, the two coaches. I'm Bobby Burton. Thank you to our sponsor, Laura Baker, over at the Andy Allen team within Keller Williams Realty. We'll talk to you a little bit more about Laura later in the show. Coaches, Texas win 38-24. We're going to break down the game a little bit, talk about what y'all saw, what you liked, didn't like, and other things about it, and where Texas needs to go now. Heading off to the Peach Bowl just 9 days from now to take on the Arizona State Sun Devils. All right, Bob Shipley, I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to start with offense. What did you see on the offensive side of the ball that you liked, didn't like?
A guy named Trevor Gooseby. I kind of like that guy. He's kind of like the Lone Ranger. You know, he comes in and saves the day. And, you know, it's so hard. The thing about offensive line, and I coach the offensive line, it's a position of repetition, just repetition, step. You can do it in your sleep, you know, but to have a guy cross-trained to do it right and left side is really hard. And Coach Erwin knows this. It takes a special guy who can just transfer everything over. And when he was playing left, of course, he had to keep his left foot back and his right foot up and not letting anybody get inside. And now all of a sudden it's just the opposite. And he's got to have his right foot back, playing right tackle, and keep everything inside from going inside. And it's not an easy thing to do. In fact, there's very few guys in the NFL that can cross over because they've repped it so many times. They're just a creature of habit, and they can't do it. And so Kyle Flood, the offensive line, my game ball goes to those guys. They did a great job. Our running backs, the outside zone is just it's a tough play to stop. If you're running straight at somebody, the linebacker can feel it is what it is. But when you're running the outside zone, the linebacker's got to be patient. And if he's not, then the lineman will just push him past the hole. It's a hole instead of most of the times you drop a play, the hole is vertical, and this hole is at an angle. And it's amazing the way that our guys do it with such accuracy. If anybody's over pursuing, they just push them on past. Then they seal off the inside, and it just opens up. It's just amazing. It's a beautiful play. I love the job our offensive line did. I love the job that our backs did. I think that Quinn played a good game, and defense is what it is. And so I just couldn't be happier with where we're at right now. We're still facing some third quarter stuff, but we did the winning drive yesterday, Bobby, and somebody said, "Can Texas win a championship with the third quarter lulls continue?" Yes, you can. You can. We'd rather not do that. We'd rather figure it out, and I'm not so sure we shouldn't just go, all gas, no brakes. What have you got to lose? Let's try it. Let's just go fast. I think that's what our kids are current. That's the program they've been raised in. And a lot of these kids, even in high school. So let's get in our comfort zone that third quarter and just hit them so fast they don't know what's coming. That's my opinion. Defense is who they are. Jahdae Barron is who he is. Colin Simmons is who he is. Ant Hill is who he is. They're freaking studs, and I'm glad we got them on our team.
Bryan, when we left last week, you and Coach said it simultaneously. Run the ball. Is that what you're going to talk about on the offensive side of the ball for right now?
Secondly.
Okay.
Because
not so fast, my friend.
Not so fast, my friend. I would love to. I really would, because I heard Bob and I say that, run the ball, in my sleep, since that game, and so proud of how we did run the ball. First of all, I think we owe Quinn. Quinn played, in my opinion, great. He played an unbelievable football game. Made some great intermediate throws. Did a great job in the screen game. Took care of the ball. The one interception, that's not on him. That's on DeAndre Moore. He checked us in and out of plays. I just think he played great. I think that's the best overall game I've seen him play. And I'm not talking about putting up all these crazy numbers, 358 yards passed and all that stuff. I just think that was the best game I've seen him play as a Longhorn. As a passer, as a game manager, and as a leader. And towards the end of the game, when they cut it to 7, man, That it got tight. I was tight. Y'all were tight. I know everybody was tight. And Quinn just made the throws he needed to make. The third down conversion, I think it was right before Jaden Blue had that big long run, but the third down conversion when he threw it to Jaden Blue out in the left-hand flat, he stood in the pocket. He gap escaped to his left just a hair, and then he put it on him. Just moving those chains when it was 3rd and 8, I thought huge plays. There's a lot of little bitty micro plays in that game that we could go back and watch, but I think Quinn deserves the tip of the cap, in my opinion. We've been hard on him, and I think he played like a championship-level quarterback. Run game, unbelievable. It's so much fun, like Bob said, to watch that outside zone do what it does. It can hit in so many different places. And the thing is, as an offensive coach, you don't care where it hits. You don't care whether it hits D gap, C gap, B gap, or cuts all the way back. And I think that lends itself to our backs. Last week we talked about simplifying the run scheme. We mentioned that. And I think we did simplify, how many schemes we went into this game with. And we concentrated on, outside zone and a couple gap schemes. So I thought that was great. And then lastly, penalties, 2 penalties, 10 yards. We also talked last week about you can be physical, you can hold, you can get away with it. They're not going to call it in these championship games. And we didn't have one hold. Well, no, we did have. Did we have one holding penalty?
No, I don't think so.
Or
no, holding. They had a false start and Colin Simmons on the quarterback, late on the quarterback. But even that was only a half the distance.
Yeah. So, they're going to let you play. They're going to let you be physical. And I think that played into our hands. So I'm proud of how they reset, refocused, cut the penalties down to basically none. 10 yards of total penalties is outstanding. You can win a lot of football games only having 10 yards of total penalties. So I think what we got to fix is 4th down. 4th down's a mess right now. And we were 1 of 4, I believe, on 4th down officially. And we've got to get that fixed. We've got to have some courage, and we've got to have some confidence to go get a yard or a half a yard or whatever it may be. So we need to figure out, is that arch going under center? Is that arch in the gun? I'd rather see. There's 2 things we did I don't like, and that's one, probably the quarterback sneaks. That's probably not where our strength is. And number 2, a full flow quarterback run like we ran him down the goal line. I'd rather see us misdirection this stuff, and ride the back and run a design quarterback play or zone read it out or, just hand it off. And then we still got the threat of Arch coming out the back door that you can hold a hat or 2 with Arch just faking it. So I love the misdirection. I think we need to mesh that thing and either give it or keep it design run or keep it on zone read. So overall positives with Quinn, run game, penalties. The only negative I got is our 4th down stuff.
I got to ask you guys, because you mentioned that Quinn, talking about that, you mentioned that pass to Blue where he kind of faded left and then threw it a really nice ball right at the sticks that Blue came down with. He also had a great play, a screen play to Gunnar Helm, where the linebacker or safety, I couldn't remember which one, came in real hot right on top of him, and he just flicked it real quick. Gunnar Helm made a wonderful play, but man, that was a 25-yard difference in placers. It was either going to be -6 or plus 19, right? And that's something a third-year starter can do, but that was a great play.
He was sleight of hand right there. I mean, he was just – I had to watch it 2 or 3 times that day, and then I've watched it 2 or 3 times since. I'm like, how did he feel that? And then just getting it out is like a magician sleight of hand, quick release, getting it to him. Gunnar Helm makes the play, and we get positive yards off of it.
Yeah, and he also had a scramble for a first down, key one that put Texas on the scoreboard. I can't believe you didn't mention that pin and pull with Jake Major. That was about the widest open touchdown run you're ever going to see. My dad said you could have drove an 18-wheeler through that. That
dude DJ Campbell hit is somewhere pinned up against the west side of the stadium. I mean, he just demolished that cat when he pulled out of there.
All right, we're gonna talk a little bit more about the defense, but first we need to say thank you to our sponsor. That is Laura Baker over at Keller Williams Realty. If you're moving to, from, or within the Austin area, Laura is the person you would call. She's a lifelong Austinite. someone that knows the nooks and crannies of Austin as well as anyone. 512-784-0505. That's 512-784-0505. Or reach out to her at Laura at AndyAllenTeam.com. That's Laura at AndyAllenTeam.com. She's been with us sponsoring this show, this Lunch with the Coach, for 2 years now from the very start. We appreciate her very, very much. All right, the defense, Bob, you started to talk about those guys a little bit in your first response. If it's 4th and 1, do you run up the middle against Texas?
Woo, baby. Man, was that not the play of the game? Oh, man, I don't know if y'all did. I came out of my seat with that stop. I mean, this defense is just – they never seem to cease to amaze me, at their tenacity and they don't give a crap where they get the ball on the field. They're going to go out and play defense,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to love complimentary football like that. Defense, hey, that's okay, man. We got it. Hang on. You'll be back out there in a minute. Wow, what a great stand. Just a great overall game. I think that, the first quarter, especially that first drive, you had kind of the same thing that we see with Sark. A great opening first drive. Scripted plays, probably plays they know they're going to work against our defense. They've got 13, 14 game films on us. They know what we're going to do for the most part, and they took advantage of that on the first drive. But give PK and the staff credit for making the changes they need to make to shore up our defense. And then, once those scripted plays ran out, it seemed to me after that first drive, a great first drive by Clemson, no doubt. I mean, they picked us apart. But after that, we kind of settled in, they settled in, and it was just mano a mano, and we just overpowered them.
Bryan, what did you think of the defense?
Yeah, same thing. I thought once we settled in, got settled down a little bit, just started playing fast. They got lucky a couple times on that first drive, in my opinion. Create one of those throws that Klubnik made was just incredible. And you got to tip your hat to him too, because he made some throws throughout that game. And they had some 2 or 3 receivers throughout that game that they're catching the ball and they're in bounds by this far, and so you're not going to stop a lot of that stuff. The throws that he was making, dropping dimes over the top of Muhammad a couple of times. That Moore kid just made some incredible catches. So when you've got a quarterback like that can throw it and that accurate, they're gonna make plays. And then he's so athletic, he's so competitive. They're gonna score their points. And I think it was just kind of an anomaly for our defense. I'm not worried about our pass defense. I think they got hot. They made some plays, and there's not a whole. It's not like other than the one touchdown where we just let the guy scot-free across the middle. We just completely blew that coverage and just handed them a touchdown. Other than that, I really thought they had to fight and claw and scratch for their touchdowns. Other than maybe that first one on that mesh concept, they ran that mesh concept 3 or 4 times throughout the game. Well, guess what? That's where they ended the game too, because Michael Taft, he had seen that mesh play, I think 3 times, and now here it is the 3rd time. He comes down, just KOs the dude as he comes, loose underneath on that mesh concept. So, yeah, like Bob said, that mesh concept was one they were going to try to take advantage of us on, and they did 2 or 3 times. But that's where they walked off the field too, leading on that mesh play. But I thought another interesting thing, Benda. And yeah, we know Sorrell, Anthony, Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill. We know who our Janae Barron. We know who our guys are. But Benda, the stop he made down there on the goal line, the tackle he made was incredible. He also made a big tackle early in the game on a short yardage situation. He's very, very physical. He only played, I think I saw, like 6 snaps. But his productivity over those 6 snaps were pretty amazing. And it also kind of takes me back a couple of weeks, because when Georgia punched it in against us down on the goal line, Benda was in the game, but he was lined up in a 9 technique on the line of scrimmage, and Trey Moore was actually at an inside linebacker spot. And Trey Moore just did not fit it correctly and didn't trigger correctly. And I'm like, wow, why don't we have Trey Moore at inside linebacker? Why wouldn't Trey Moore be at the 9 technique and Benda be at the inside backer spot where he can plug and he can trigger? But that's where they had him this week, and I really like the way he brings a lot of physicality and size to us when we get in those third and fourth down and short situations.
May be really useful when they play Arizona State with the big back that they have.
No doubt. That's a great point, Bobby.
Yep. I will say this. Y'all mentioned that first drive. Y'all know that on that first drive, Garrett Riley, Cade Klubnik, those guys at Clemson, they were 2 for 2 on third downs in that first drive. You want to know what they were at the end of the game on third down conversions? 3 of 12. Woo. That means they went 1 of the next 10 on third downs. Yeah. That is, you could talk about settling into a game for a defense. That's settling into a game right there.
Well, that was only the second opening drive touchdown we've given up all season.
Yeah. I mean, they're a good – Clemson's got good players. I think the tight end's really good, right? He's got a good catch radius, long, can run. The 3 wide receivers are all probably NFL receivers at various levels, right? I mean, I thought they had a good offensive personnel, didn't have a running back, so the run game was really quiet. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of proxy this is for Texas going forward versus an Arizona State team that's a little bit different. I mean, Arizona State just lost their top wide receiver for the year, but they are run heavy and they play action off of it. Yeah. Bryan, you said you told us in pregame you'd watched Arizona State against Iowa State in the Big 12 championship. What did you see there, and what are your just initial thoughts on that game, if you don't mind?
Yeah, I think they're very active on defense. They play really, really fast. They're well coached. They're believing. I mean, you just really tell that they believe in their coach. They believe in the program. I just think they got a lot of team speed on defense. Pretty physical on offense. Yeah, we know it revolves around Scatterboo, and that guy's a beast. We're going to have to take him out, and we're going to have to take him out early. We can't let him get to second level. He's going to have to be a guy you treat Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry can be really, 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 really good, but I've seen Derrick Henry not be really good. If he doesn't get going, if he doesn't get to that second, third level, he's not a great back. We've got to keep Scatterboo from getting to that second, third level. We've got to make him make some drastic, radical cuts at the line of scrimmage, and reduce his momentum as he approaches the line of scrimmage and make some of those radical cuts, so that he's not able just to hit it, downhill and be a one, cut wonder and lower his head and just start trucking guys, because he is a load. He is unbelievable. Their quarterback, I was real impressed with his ability to make plays off schedule. I think he's got a lot of escapability. I think that he might be even more athletic and have a little bit more escapability than even Klubnik did. I'm not sure he's the passer Klubnik is, but I think he's got a lot of moxie, makes a lot of plays off schedule, because think about what they do. They're gonna run the football, and they're gonna try to play action pass, much like what we do. And in the play action passing game, if it's not there, then he has an opportunity to pull it down and run with it, make plays off schedule, move the change, frustrate your defensive guys, make your guys run sideline to sideline, and and move the chains on a 3rd and 8 when he scrambles for 9. And all of a sudden, you're still on the field. So I'm impressed with the team. I don't know how good Iowa State was. It's hard to tell exactly how good Arizona State is overall, but I was impressed with when they lined up played Iowa State, it was a royal butt kicking. And we know historically what Iowa State brings to the table. They're physical, they're well coached. So I think this is going to be a tough one. We're going to have to do what we got to do to get off the field and stop Scatterboo and keep the quarterback from moving the chains with his legs, and just take it to them. Their defense is fast, but I think we can take it right to them and try to be more physical again, try to establish the run game. So, one thing I want to say too, Bobby, that we talked about last week that I think was the coolest part of this game for me, maybe y'all, but we talked about how we need to play the best football game we've played so far this year before the season ends. That was, my battle cry is like, man, we play your best game before this thing ends. And that's the challenge. And I don't know how y'all feel, but I feel like that was the best football game we've played this year. Was it always perfect? No. Is it ever going to be always perfect? No. Good, bad, ugly, adversity. great plays, explosive plays. We're giving up things. But overall, from a fan base standpoint, from a team standpoint, from an effort standpoint, from an execution standpoint, from 2 penalty standpoint, I think that was the best game we played so far. I think our guys were ultra focused, ultra prepared, ultra energetic, and that's just what we're going to see more of as we move along in these playoffs. And I think we're going to see it next Wednesday.
That's kind of funny because I said my last question was this for you guys. And Bob, I'll put it to you since Bryan just spoke his piece a little bit.
I'm sorry about that, Bobby.
No, this is good. This is it makes me feel confident whenever you're already saying something and I'm thinking that makes me, I can go at it, right? But I wrote down, is this the best you felt about this team since Michigan? Just think about it. Is this the best you felt about because they ran the ball, they played a good offense with good skill people and still came out on top. They were really tested, right? This wasn't 6-6 Oklahoma that couldn't throw the ball. This is a team that had an offense, has good high-level team speed, all that stuff. Now they may not have the depth of Texas, but a good program that's won 2 national championships in the last 10 years. He does it right. Dabo may not be perfect, but he does it right generally.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the best you guys have felt since Michigan? Because frankly, it is for me. Quinn, to your point, Quinn didn't put the ball in harm's way. That interception was not on him. What do you think, Bob? I'll let you answer that.
I do, with the exception of maybe, we couldn't quite put A&M away, but I kind of feel like, after the A&M game, obviously the success running the ball that we had against A&M, I do feel like we're peaking at the right time. Obviously we still have some things that we're going to have to, clear up, but I do feel like very similar to what I felt like after the Michigan game and also after the A&M game, because I felt like we could have beat Clemson worse than we did. We let them hang around like we let A&M hang around, but I do feel like that we're peaking at the right time with these kids getting a taste of championship football and what it's all about in the playoffs. Our first playoff win in school history, other than, of course, a championship game. So I do feel like we're where we need to be.
Bryan, asking you that, were you surprised that there was no hangover from Georgia? Because I was a little bit worried about that, right? I mean, they lost a heartbreaker overtime to Georgia, but I didn't feel like there was a hangover on Saturday at all.
No, I think having the off week, having a week off in between takes care of that. I think we might have had a hangover going into Georgia, honestly, coming off the A&M game. That's the way I remember it. That's the way I saw it. I mean, you just don't have the energy and the juice to play. And can you imagine the pressure our guys were under against A&M? The pressure surrounding that game. I know I've never been so on edge in a number of years going to that A&M game and the whole game and the frustrations we felt during the game. And then turn around and play Georgia the next week and played well, but not like a championship caliber football team. But I think it showed us a lot of things, and I think it gave Sark an opportunity to coach hard, especially on the penalties and the lack of execution. But to answer your question, heck yeah, I think this was the best overall game we played from a team standpoint. Special teams were solid. What we've been griping about. I mean, special teams have been a hot mess now for 4 to 6 weeks, and we played solid. We caught the ball when we should catch the ball. We punted the ball when we should punt it. We made the field goal we need to make. We make our extra points. We cover. I just thought special teams was solid. We ran the football. We played good defense, and we responded. The other thing about we go down 7 points because I feel like I don't know what the percentage of the game was, but I would guesstimate about 70% of that game we had a 2-score lead. We were in control of that game, unlike we were many games throughout this year where we've got a 1-score lead and we're holding on. We had a 2-score lead the majority of that game. Other than we get behind after that first series. Well, what does a championship ball club do? At home field advantage. You get the ball, you take it down to score, and you respond. You get it right back after a 3 and out. You take it down and you score, and now you're up 14-7. You get it back, you're up 21-7. You know, you get it back at the end of the half, and you score right before half like you should with a gunner helm to make it 28-10. I feel like we had the ball game in hand at that point in time. And then we come out the second half and we move the ball all the way down the field. And it's a field goal instead of a touchdown. But we moved that sucker all the way down the field and really had a good drive, that opening drive of the second half. And then the last half, say, Bobby, on a response standpoint, when they cut it to 7, and there's about 9 minutes to go in that game-ish, somewhere in there, and we moved the chains a time or two, and then all of a sudden Jaden Blue goes, house. on that butt now, and I'm talking that was a thing of beauty. So just responding when we got behind and responding when things got tight, and I'm talking about responding in a resounding way.
Yeah, I love it. Hey guys, this was state championship weekend in high school football too. You guys, two former high school coaches that have competed in state championships. You guys want to say anything to those guys and congratulate them before we let you go today here?
Well, I tell you what, a special shout out to Drew at Vandegrift. What a great job those guys did. He is a class guy that I've known for a long time, and he'd come up and watch a lot of our practices at UT. And you know, he's one of the good ones in this business, and it's really hard to win a state championship in a multi-school district like Round Rock is. And for him to put that together, and he's been knocking at the door for a while, you know, and to come in and knock off Riley Dodge, South Lake Carroll, was just unbelievable, you know. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to Coach Surratt at Carthage. He knocked us out of the playoffs in the semifinals when he went on to win his 3rd championship in a row. Now I think he's at double digits, so it's been a little while since he stole my state championship in 2011. But anyway, great job to those guys. I don't know a lot of the other head coaches, but congratulations to all the teams that made the playoffs, and especially those that won the championship. Great job.
All right, Bryan, you have anything?
2 things. I'm glad I'm out of it now and don't have to play North Crowley, because man, that outfit, that's something else. And then
that's one of the best high school playoff games I've seen in terms of talent on the field.
Oh my gosh, unbelievable. And then I don't know if you guys remember a few weeks back, I talked about the Ganado Indians, and I don't have any ties to Ganado. I don't know their coach. I don't know their program, but I saw them week 2 just throttle my Crawford Pirates. My nephew plays for the Crawford Pirates, and they just throttled us. And I'm like, that's a state championship football team right there. And they went on to win the state championship in 3 overtimes. As I'm watching the game, it's going into the 3rd overtime, and all of a sudden they bring up on the screen that the longest state championship football game prior to that one was Lamarck versus Denton Ryan, which was our Lamarck team that beat Denton Ryan in 3 overtimes. I had no idea that was the longest high school football game state championship, but I was glad I got to see that pop up there.
That's good stuff. All right, guys. Hey, y'all have a good one. We'll see you next week. Have a Merry Christmas, by the way, both you guys. Hope you enjoy it with your family. And until next time, we'll see you then. Thanks again to our friend Laura Baker over at Keller Williams Realty. Give her a call if you're moving to, from, or within the Austin area. 512-784-0505. That's 512-784-0505. Or reach out to her at Laura at Andy Allen Team. For Coach Shipley, Coach Erwin, I'm Bobby Burton. This has been Lunch with the Coach on Texas Football. Hook 'em.